Welcome to the Love Unplugged podcast. I'm your host, Jessica Frigon. You may know me from Project Love, where we focus on operational excellence, but here we go deeper. We're your go-to for raw, empowering conversations on entrepreneurship and stepping into your CEO role with love and confidence. Each week, we'll explore everything from mindset shifts, leadership, optimal wellness, to efficient systems, all within a community of visionary women like you. Ready to get real about building a business and life you love? Hit subscribe and let's start this transformative journey together. Hello and welcome back to another episode of Love Unplugged. I'm your host, Jessica, and today we have a real estate powerhouse guest with us. So please join me in welcoming Morgan Browne, CEO and co-founder of Oakland Realty, a top real estate brokerage here in Vancouver, BC. Morgan, I am truly honored to have you as my guest today. So welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me, Jessica. It's I'm so excited to get talking with you, and I am a listener, so that's a big part of it. So thank you for even asking me to be on today.
Oh, completely my honor. So let's dive right into it. I want to learn all about you and your entrepreneurial journey because you have a lot of experience in the real estate industry. So let's start at the very beginning. Before you went into the real estate industry, what were you doing? How did you land in the real estate industry? How did the idea for Oakwin come to be?
It's a long-winded question. Now I've been doing this for about 15 years. So I would say if you're aware enough with yourself early on in your life. I was lucky enough to really kind of go into the business field in general. When I was at a very young age, I started going to college and university for business. And right away, I realized I took this, actually, it's very funny. I took this test or this community involvement about sales and marketing to sell ad space in the Global Mail. And I just did it very quickly, very easily. And I realized, whoa, I'm actually okay at this. I'm actually great at sales. And I ended up getting a scholarship with the Global Mail to go to UBC. And I think from that point on, I realized, this is something that is a gift of mine, and I'm able to talk to people easily, and I'm able to help them through their journey. And so I thought, okay, I actually went backpacking in Thailand. Funny story. I went backpacking in Thailand. And when I was in Thailand, I was on the beach of Koh Phi Phi. And I looked up and I kind of was telling my boyfriend at the time, I'm not only very blessed to live in Canada, but I'm also very blessed to be a woman in Canada. I have a lot of choices and I have a chance, and I don't want to waste that. And so from there, it kind of really washed my feet of what I should do in the industry. And I ended up getting my license right away and completed it very quickly. And I was 21 in an industry that really the next senior was 28, 29 at that time. So I was a very young agent at the time. And it was a down market, much like it is now today, in 2008. And I ended up just grinding and working very, very hard and kind of building my own public sphere network. And then from there, I always, in the back of my mind, I always had that business acumen that I wanted to create something and build something. And I always knew that it would just come to me. So about 9-10 years into when I was a realtor, I was asked to join a team, my two other partners who started Oakwin with me. And they asked me to come on as a partner with them to start something new. And we ended up building out Oakwin. And that's really how it all started. And why we did it was because I think that, you really want to give back to the community that best teaches you. And you are really, I think you're the best teacher in what you've walked through. So having a really strong education through and experience through being a top agent, I thought that was the best place for me to do that. And from there, we ended up starting Oakwin. And that really, it's been 10 years now.
It's
very fast.
amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing. You have multiple locations. It's a huge success,
Yes, we're
and
very
it's very highly regarded.
well, thank you. I think
Yeah.
we push through and we try to kind of overcome. And really, for all of us, I'll tell you that the reason why we started Oakland in general wasn't because we hated the industry. We wanted to do what other brokers were doing. Like that was not the reason. It was, hey, this industry has given us a lot in our lives, in our families' lives. How can we give back and how can we serve that industry? And then we built it off of the things that we felt were kind of missing in brokerages, like community, celebrating each other's successes, being kind of more new age and creating innovative services on everything. And then as that has continued to build, we're lucky enough that that speaks wonders to the people that we get to work with every single day, our realtors here at Oakland.
I love that you brought that up, community, because I was going to mention that as an outsider, seeing kind of what you guys are doing, community really does come top to mind. You really invest in your team and your agents and whatnot in your community. You have the podcast, you do your Instagram lives, you have like the mentorship. I've seen you do like some kind of coaching mentorship and stuff like that, workshops. Like you really just make it a community and you really just support your team, which is amazing.
I'm so happy you noticed that. I think we just do that by nature in a weird way because, we all come from big families too. We believe that there should never be an outsider. You should never, for whatever diversity or whatever background you're from, whether that's a religious background, the color of your skin, there should be no difference. It should just be an all-inclusive environment. And so we thought we could do that by just creating more of those safe areas, those zones where people could come in, talk and experience and share their experiences and then build off of it. Because we do believe that, if you do share, sharing will continue to grow yourself. I think that's a big part of it. You want to be able to learn and teach as much as you can. So that's great. I'm happy you see the community aspect of it.
I love that. Now, I've worked with realtors, so I know how busy that industry is. I know how crazy it can get for them just managing clients and, trying to get new leads and just doing all of the things. Like that's just one aspect of the business. There's like so much more that goes into it. So I'd love to learn how you manage your responsibilities as a successful realtor on one mark. And then on the other arm, it's like you're managing a brokerage and you're opening up new locations and you're doing so much more than just managing. You're doing the podcast, you're doing mentorship and coaching and like all that type of stuff. How do you do this?
Google Calendar. No, I'm just joking. Google Calendar is my best friend. No, I all of it goes to a good team, like 100%. I'm lucky enough to have what I think is my all, which is fulfilling a dream in my career, helping others, which is a big part of what I think I give, connecting others to a new life, a new future, and being a part of that. And I don't think I could ever do any of it without my team. And I think finding a good team, finding people you trust, loyalty, and being able to have that kind of a similar mindset is really hard to find. It really is. So I don't take it for granted whatsoever. So to answer your question, I think it's to manage everything. You have to be able to rely on others and drop the ego, drop that it's all about you. And it's really about the talent that you surround yourself with, which is everything.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, your team is what is going to get you to that next level. Once you hit that threshold that you can't do it all by yourself anymore, it's time to delegate and expand and get some support.
It's amazing how many people don't want to do that. They don't feel like they should, or they're afraid to, and they're in fear. But I just was with my team this morning and I said to them, if you don't try, you will never know, really. So you have to really just put yourself out there, get into that uncomfortable zone that you don't want to be in, because that's the only way that you're really going to grow is by trying new things, trusting people, and realizing that you have to have a team around you no matter what. Takes 2 or 5 or 21 to tango. That's what it is.
Absolutely. What I found working with clients is when they fail, it's because they didn't put the systems in place in order to support them bringing somebody on. And in that way, they had to manage way more than they thought they would. And that individual ended up being a bottleneck and everything had to go through them and things were getting done right. And it honestly creates such a negative experience that they feel like, no, I'm never doing this again. This is just horrible. It's not for me. I can't handle it. Like, it's not going to work. But that as long as you take the time to set yourself up for success in bringing somebody on and expanding your team, it will go well.
Yes, the systems are everything. They're everything. And that might even be just the system of your own self, right? What's your routine like? What does that look like for time? Our time is very valuable. So we have to ensure that we're not stretching ourselves too far, but at the same time, you're going to have to give back a little bit of your vulnerability of sharing that with everybody. That's the one thing that you realize very quickly. At first, you're like, this is my private zone. This is everything. But the best piece of advice I ever got was like, open it up, let everyone see it, because they'll be able to kind of put themselves into place, and don't be afraid to ask for the help, which is important. Yeah.
Absolutely. So let's learn some key valuable lessons that you've learned along the way in your journey that others that are just starting or going through it right now might be able to take from and apply into their lives.
Oh my gosh. I mean, there's so many pieces of notes, but I would say some very milestone moments for me, kind of building out Oakwin, and also just making sure that my clients, even on my resales team, are not forgotten, but also my family. Like, I think you think about, I have 2 toddlers. I have a 2 and a 4-year-old and a husband. So you have to ensure that, which is my biggest takeaway, which is run at your own pace. I think people are so caught up in kind of keeping up with everybody all the time, but you have to kind of put your blinders up. And I hear it a lot, like, don't compare yourself. But I think I transform that to, run at your own pace, run at your own leisure, make sure that you know who you are and what you need in that day. And that's like my number one takeaway is, don't, maybe not compare it yourself, but make your own story, make your own pace, make your own lane. And that will really help you get to success faster, because you'll be focused on just making sure that you're okay in that A to B, which is number one. I think that's like my massive takeaway. Take that.
Absolutely.
But
I 100% agree.
I think the thing that people know me as is, I would say people that are around me, is that I've always chosen positivity. Like, I've really chosen, I do believe that it's a practice. It's a complete belief to be optimistic, to have belief in yourself. And when hard times are really tough, that positivity really transforms into courage. And so that is something I live by. I think creating that energy field is super important, and walking into a room and really breathing positivity is really up to you as a human. It's a choice. It really is. And how you do that is by, understanding that if you want things on a grand scale, you really have to be around people that really want that for you as well. I always joke, because it's people always say self-made or this, and it's never self-made. You really have to be around people that believe in you and that really want you to be happy and positive, which is everything, I think, in your life, is what is everyone trying to get towards. But yeah, those are kind of things I've learned along my entrepreneurial journey. Other than that, it's like, really, you have to understand that life really is led by you, and just to be really happy with the choices you make. Early on, I realized when people were, you think you know who you are, but you have to kind of keep on digging deeper. So really drive in and build in to who you are and what you believe in and what your values are. Because I think if you do that, then you'll be able to stay true to yourself, but you'll be able to grow a lot faster and accept other people's comments and criticism very well instead of you kind of reacting to it. But yeah, those are my journey tips.
I love that. Yeah, the reaction piece, that can be tough for people, right? To get feedback, whether it's good feedback or unwarranted or completely out of left field. It doesn't matter. And I love that you said, put your blinders on. That is absolutely key, because the moment you step into the entrepreneurial space, you will be bombarded with what everybody else is doing. And it can get so easy to get lost along the way, and to see that someone's like 5 steps ahead of you, and to get discouraged with your own journey because you're not there yet and you wish you were, but it doesn't matter. Just go at your own pace. I love
Go
that
at
you
your own
mentioned
pace.
that. That's so
Go at
true.
your own pace. There's a lot of people that, look at other people and they'll feel very threatened, and they can't turn on that inspiration for the other person, right? So you can kind of change that mindset completely. But I think it's even better to just not look at it and just kind of say, what's my all? What do I want to accomplish? What do I think my clients are going to need from me, and everything, right? So those key things are super important. Yeah.
Yeah. The entrepreneurial journey is like a self-development journey. That's what it is. Like, essentially, it's you working on yourself behind the scenes.
100%, and understanding yourself
Yeah.
and personally develop all the time. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a ever evolving journey. It's never going to end.
It's never going to end. It's never going to end. It's a great journey, though. I mean,
Yeah.
entrepreneurship, I'm very blessed to have had parents that were both entrepreneurs. So I saw the ups and downs really young. And that was a big part of my journey as well, being able to see the uncomfort that it brings to a person. So my resilience to it has been really high, really young, because I saw my parents, one day they were doing super well, and the next day it was a tough day. And so I think it's hard to get up every day when it's rough, but you just have to be resilient. And I think that's where it's built from.
That's so good, because it's true. Like, it can be quite a shock for someone to step into the entrepreneurial space and to experience the insane highs and lows and just be like, whoa, like, is this normal? Is it just me? And I remember talking to my ex-boss, who's like a serial entrepreneur, hugely successful. And he's like, no, he's like, that's the journey.
That's
He's
the journey.
like, one day, massive high, everything's going well. Next morning, everything like falls apart. And you're just like, I'm going to call it quits. Like, this is it. And I'm like, really?
Especially in partnership. Like, I mean, I'm an entrepreneur, but I'm also in especially my resale side, but I'm in a partnership on the other side. And sometimes it doesn't go the way you want it to, because it's because there's a lot more people in the conversation, and you have to be able to sit through it and work through it. And I think that's one of the most rewarding things in partnership, is being able to work through things, build things. And there's so much positivity with partnership. I'll tell you, there's so much shame behind it, but it's actually the best, because you get to have your partners next to you saying, it's okay, well, let's do it together. Or if someone's in a place where they can't really be 100%, you can take that 30% they're lacking and be there for them. So it's one of the best things I could tell people is, don't be afraid of partnership. Just really get to know the partner that you're with, which is everything. Yeah, which is everything.
I love that.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about some strategies that has helped contribute to Oakwin's rapid growth and their huge success in the industry. Like, what do you think stands out the most in helping that?
Well, I think one of the big things for us has been, we've always, I think, three big components. One of them is keeping our talent very strong around us. So everyone from our administrative assistants to our conveyancers to our own personal executive assistants, the talent is very high. And we have no problem saying, okay, you guys need some help in this. Let's get you educated in it. And being able to contribute to that success is, I think, a big pillar of what Oakland does, is taking them from that fixed mindset to a growth mindset and finding the talent that lies in the city. I think that's 100% a huge part of our success. There was a time where our team was overwhelmed. There was a lot of we reached number one brokerage in Vancouver very quickly. That was when we had 3 offices. Now we're almost at 10. And we were at the point where the agents were feeling it. We were feeling it. And especially our people were feeling it. So we had to kind of really add to the pile, put our money where our mouth is, get the talent, find the right people that was in place. And because of that, those systems grew stronger. The people were able to keep the boat afloat, but also make the water calm. And that's what we need. We want those people that are talented beyond belief. That's what Oakwin's, I think, major passion is finding those people that want to do the work and that love the work with it. So big part of that is our team. The second big thing is, we do all of the partners, the 3 of us, we're huge about coaching, mentorship. It's always been a pillar in what we've done. Personally, we all did it already. I think that's another thing. We all personally had coaches and mentors, and a mentor can be as easy as, for some, a past or not for myself, but for some of the team members, people that are trying to reach spirituality. It could also be a mentorship in people that are connected in the city and that build, great relationships for you. So there's no right mentor or coach. You just have to really feel that out. But it's been really a huge part of Oakwin's success because we're actively learning and we're always making sure that the bar is set so high for us that we can't reach it. And because of that, I think it breeds well in what we do here, which is lead by example. And we preach leading by example, but also pursuing growth and learning on a really high level. So that's a huge part of what we do at Oakwin, is constantly setting the bar high. And another massive part of, I think, is who we bring on, and that has to do with our strategic planning every year. We set the tone every year. We spend the time together talking about what needs to get better, what we need to bring to the agency, who we need to connect with. We ask the hard questions, and then we build out strategic planning for the whole brokerage, not just for ourselves, not just for our internal, but also for our agents. And it keeps us all together. It keeps us really in a very clear path of what our mission is and what our goal is, which is inevitably trying to really set the bar high for the industry as a whole. So that's what I think has created some success. And our secret sauce is all over our walls. It's really just being open with other people. We laugh about it because it's like, we have core values here at Oakwin, and a big part of why I think we've done well is because of those core values, because we stuck to them. We ask questions about it, and they're sitting on every one of our walls. It's in vinyl, and it's in a painting, or it's somewhere in our walls of Oakwin, and it's right there. And anyone can do it. You have to make sure that you are very mindful of it.
Yeah, absolutely. I have a side question for you. As obviously somebody who is managing quite a number of agents, a lot of people struggle getting out of an employee mindset, right? Like, you're working for a brokerage, you might consider yourself an employee, but essentially you're building your business. You're an entrepreneur, and being an entrepreneur and having that mindset versus an employee mindset is completely different. You are responsible for your own success. Mm-hmm. So what are your tips or advice for people that are currently struggling changing their mindset over to a business owner and having to step into those shoes and really take ownership over that role?
Yeah, that's hard for a lot of people to jump into those roles. I think for a corporate mindset, it is a fixed mindset because you are marching to that beat of the company and the corporate side. I think jumping into an entrepreneur mindset, and to answer your question, to kind of tidbits of managing at Oakwin, we're really serving people. So we're a bottom-up structure where our team has made a conscious effort to realize, we work for them, really. It's not the other way around. So for us, we've always kind of conceptually had the realtor in mind, knowing that they're the businesses, they're the ones growing within the soil that we provide. And for us to provide a great farm for them, or for them to build these beautiful gardens, our soil has to be rich, right? Very rich. And so that comes from different pillars. So to answer your question about changing your mindset into an entrepreneur, or sorry, a corporate into an entrepreneur mindset, I think it's like shedding a skin. It's finally realizing that you are the master of your own domain. Like, it's really kind of getting your head into, okay, we're not marching anymore. We're now the masters of what our own domain is. And carefully planning that out. I think it's very important for any person leaving corporate. And I've spoken to so many people leaving corporate into entrepreneurship, is that you have to take ownership of the choices that you're making now. And before, you might have a guideline or an agenda or something to keep you going, where you now you have to make conscious decisions to build out what you think you'll be proud of, and what your choices will be made for. So a lot of people ask me, I don't really have a good answer to say balancing everything. I really don't. Like, it's really, what I've chosen is to say my life is my own decision, and every choice that I make for this is really going to be because of the decisions I made. And I think that's a huge part of changing your mindset from corporate to entrepreneurship. That's long-winded. Sorry.
Good. That's good. No, that's great. I love that. I think it's such an important thing, because it is something that a lot of people struggle with. There's no structure in place. You know what I mean? Like, it's very different. So just hearing your insights on that and how you help your own team and the guidance that you share there it's valuable.
Well, it's not easy to get to be an entrepreneur, but it is the most rewarding ever, because you are putting your name all over it. So I encourage it. And I definitely encourage people to get into entrepreneurship, for sure.
Absolutely. Now let's talk about being a leader. Okay, so you are a leader of quite a large realty team. What do you think the leadership qualities that are essential to running a successful business, a successful real estate firm?
There is, I think, the top three, like top one or two that come to mind right away is being able to be self-aware. So a lot of people talk highly about really emotional intelligence, which I think is a huge part of what we do as leaders, being able to pick up on people and understanding others and having that compassion for others. And that's, I think, in every textbook I've ever read, it's emotional intelligence. But I think there's a big part of being a leader, and that is about being self-aware as well. I think you have to be able to stop yourself, especially in this time of our world and our society, that there's a lot of criticism. You can be canceled tomorrow. So it's important for you to be self-aware about what you're saying, what you're doing, what you're representing, because you're representing, I think, a collective as a whole. And it's one of the biggest qualities I think a lot of leaders do have, but without even being noticed with it. So, of course, the Phil Knights are going to be, have their own space. And I do think that does take a lot of courage to build into that as well. So I think that goes into my second part of being a leader, is having the courage. And that means having the courage to stand up for what you believe, having the courage to make decisions, and to hear other people. But courage is, I think, one of my attributes I bring to the team, which is not being afraid of the next step and being able to push into the uncomfortable positions when we might not know what's behind that door. We just got to try it and continue. So yes, self-awareness, emotional intelligence, courage, and I mean, a little bit of an obsession. I'm not going to lie to you. A little bit of like that healthy obsession, that the healthy workaholic in you. And I think that comes just because you're passionate about what you do, or you're passionate about what you do, and you truly want to make a change. And that every day should drive you to get up and to be in the office or to be with people. I think during the pandemic, it was really tough to see people go through major loss and uncomfort, even, lots of mental health issues that were happening in the pandemic. And you have to have this like weird, not to say weird, but there's like a little switch that really gets you through all that. And that's because you're healthily obsessed with what you're doing.
Yeah, no, absolutely. If you start to feel like you're dreading getting up in the morning and doing your work, you've fallen out of alignment. There's something going on that you need to investigate in order to fix it. Otherwise, it's just a job, right? And why would you start a business for it to just be a job?
No, it's not.
You can get a job anywhere.
Yeah. The best entrepreneurs are really having fun, and they're having a good time, and they're able to tap into their creative side and their analytical side. And so they're the ones that are really pushing the field. I think their success is very evident, and that's because they're enjoying what they're doing. So definitely passion is key. A healthy obsession is key. And, but to be a leader it's really about, courage, humility, self-aware, and emotional intelligence. If you have those, I think that's the perfect piece of pie. Yeah.
I love that. That's great. Yeah, I totally agree with that. Now let's talk about the ups and downs again. I want to know what has helped you navigate those. Let's talk about the downs. The ups are easy to get through. You just celebrate the hell out of them. But as a mom, as an entrepreneur, as a wife, that's a lot of different roles to navigate. There's lots of different downs within all of those different areas. How do you navigate them so that they don't spill into the other areas, so that you're able to pick yourself up and to keep going and to be resilient? And yeah.
I truly, I'm gonna just be honest. Being all three, it's overwhelming. It really is, because again, I made that choice. My willingness to take it on is really a big part of what you're saying, which is when those downs are happening, you have to kind of say, when times get tough, I'm going to be able to say, this was my choice. I'm going to take ownership of this, and I'm going to make a change in this because I can, right? So a big part of those ups and downs is just being able to say, I'm not a victim of this. I'm really going to be able to get through this. But to be honest, to navigate it, it takes a strong counsel. Post this onto my Instagram account, like, your girlfriends, I'll tell you, I talked to them this morning about this. I actually was like, I'm going on this podcast, and like, it's amazing. And I talk to my best friends. I'm not jokingly, like, I talk to them like every morning. Like every morning I have my best friends on a Zoom call. We all live very different lives. Some of us are not here, some of us are not. And just being able to have like a counsel to vent through, whether that's business or my husband or my kids or a weird school day or a trip to Victoria opening up a new office or a bad deal that went sour. Like, to have these women next to me, like, I'm so overwhelmingly blessed. I really am so thankful for it. So to navigate it, I think there's one is about taking again, that self-awareness of what you've chosen. There's going to be tough times, and you have to be able to kind of take on ownership of what you've chosen to do. And the second is just having strong people around. And if you're a woman out there listening, women are your biggest fan. And that's the reason why I put on this huge event every year called the Women of Oakwin, which is WOO. I think women are the only people that can really understand what we go through, especially as, whether we're bread earners or we have huge ambitions, or we're single mothers, or we have 3 kids to 1 kid, or we have no kids. We have this innate connection with one another. And I think having a strong female group around you is part of your success. It's a part of your success. It's a huge part of your success. So you know who you are, ladies, when I'm talking about you, because they're probably going to listen.
She loves you.
They're probably going to listen to this and they're going to laugh because I tell this to everybody. I say, like, I call them my counsel. Like they really are my counsel. They go through everything. And I'm very thankful for that. Yeah. Very thankful for it.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
It's good to have that circle.
Have your circle.
Very
If you
good.
don't have a circle and you don't really know, there are so many women out there that feel the same way. So go out there and make that group. Like, take initiative to find the people that are they don't have to have, like, my council doesn't have anything. We don't have very much in common other than we love Beyonce. and then,
Who doesn't?
who doesn't? Exactly. And and that we, have very similar morals, but there's definitely, like, you want people that are different around you to give you different aspects. I can't tell you how many times a lot of them are corporate ladies that are in my council, and they give me so much because I'm able to see it on a different side for the people that work with us here at Oakland. So I'm very, very blessed. Yeah.
I love that. All
Oh,
right. So let's talk.
I should say the last thing to keep me, like, from these navigating down is working out. So keep your, like, endorphins up. Kick them up for sure.
Oh God, yeah.
Right?
There's nothing that like clears the mind more than just sweating it out. Like,
Sweat it out, ladies. Like, sweat it out. That is, I think, and when I'm having a total unclear day, I just jump on a bike and I just don't stop until my head gets clear. And I think you have to have those moments for sure. So that's my other piece of advice.
I love that. All right. So we've talked about what you do to help you get unoverwhelmed, if that's a word.
Unoverwhelmed.
So sweating it out, talking to your circle of friends. So that's amazing. And we kind of understand a little bit of one aspect of the support system that you have in place.
Mm-hmm.
But let's talk about support system as a business leader, as a business owner. What do you put in place in order to support yourself continuing to grow as a leader and a business owner, but to further developing your skills as a leader as well?
I think I touched on it very briefly about just my partners and I dedicating to mentorship and coaching. That's super important. I mean, all the way, all the realms, like spiritually, all the way personal development. I'm an avid podcast listener. Like this morning, I was listening to the Google podcast. I think it's important to constantly keep your mind going and opening up your sphere even greater is by kind of getting that tidbits of learning all the time. I think that I dedicate a lot of my time to growth mindset. I think I actually, and my team does as well. We don't really have limited beliefs whatsoever. I've never been like that. I've just naturally kind of gone that way. But I would say my support is constantly built off of that mindset. So that could be through podcasts and even times away. So another part of supporting that system is taking a minute and looking at what other people are doing not in the same area. So I'll go to a lot of, seminars and stuff like that across in the States, in other places in the world to see what other people are thinking, what other people are doing. And I think that's a huge part of what has given us that thrive in Oakwin, but also even my resale, bringing new experiences to my clients and also to our realtors here. Personally, 100% is travel. I mean, I'm a big traveler. I love, even with toddlers, I just got back from Spain and Mallorca with 2 toddlers. It was hell. It was, and I wrote that on my Instagram.
That's a trip.
It really is. Like, I mean, any mother that says that it was just fantastic, these are beautiful photos. No, there's times where your child might have taken an accident and it's stressful, but I'm so thankful for my time and my family. And, being able to balance that is a big part of me, is just making sure that when you feel like, you haven't given like 100% of your time and you miss your family, go and do that and listen to yourself and take those actions in place. So travel, lots of growing, lots of seminars. And I think that's been a huge part of investment in myself. Mentorship is very important. And I will say something, no mentor can stick forever. Like, I think you have to be able to say, okay, not to say I've learned everything from you, but I need another aspect of something. So right now, personally, I have two coaches. So I have one coach in one aspect and the other coach in the other aspect. And then I probably have a couple mentors that I call for financial literacy or anything like that. And so constantly reaching out and not being ashamed to say, I don't know everything and I need to know more. Yeah.
I love that. Yes. You can't stick with the same mentor for the rest of your life. It's just not going to happen.
No.
It's not that you outgrow them, but you've grown and now you need something else. Your needs have changed, right? So like, even I've gone through different mentors through my own entrepreneurial journey, and it's totally fine.
How did you find your mentor, Jessica? What was your
online? Like, I come across them through Instagram.
Yeah.
Stalk them for a little while, really get to know them. Like, do I actually enjoy this person? Do they inspire me? Do I aspire to be somewhat like them in whatever way that I am needing from them? So it takes me a little bit of time, but you also have to kind of trust your intuition, right? Like, once I meet somebody, I know.
Yeah.
Like, I just know.
Totally.
It's a good connection.
I like to gush. Like, when I feel like I'm gushing or like, I'm like, okay, I just had a moment. That's when I know the mentor is good. Like, it's like, okay. But, there's so many outlets too. Like, there's a company called Sphere that's based in Canada that's fantastic for coaching and mentorship. And I will tell you, I mentor a lot of people myself. People reach out to me on Instagram and I'm happy to do it. And that those people are not even in the field of real estate. So just don't be afraid to ask. Ask people, even if you just admire them for, a little bit of your time, because mentorship just is a lot about listening. So that's a great thing. That's great.
That's good. All right. So if anybody wants to learn more about you, where can they connect with you? Where do you hang out the most online?
Online, I'm on Instagram. I think it's my number one field. So Morgan Browne Official is my Instagram, and you can DM me anytime. But I am a public number person as well. So people feel free to text me or WhatsApp me as well. You'll find me on my website at morganbrownecollective.com. And feel free to reach out to me and meet up, which is great. I like the personal time. We're very lucky to live in Vancouver because we can do that all year round, which is great.
Yes. I totally agree. Aside from the rain, but you get used to it.
I know.
It's a great temperature.
Feel free to email me too, morgan@morganbrowne.ca. I'd love to hear from you. And thank you for listening. And thank you for having me here, Jessica. This is great.
Absolutely. It's been my pleasure. Thank you so much, Morgan, for joining us, for sharing your incredible journey. So much insights and so much advice that I know so many people are going to be able to apply and learn from so that they can get better in their entrepreneurial journey themselves. So thank you for taking the time.
Thank you, Jessica. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you for joining us today. Your presence truly elevates Love Unplugged into a home for freedom-driven women who aspire to be visionary CEOs. If today's episode resonated with you, I'd be honored if you take a moment to rate and review the show. Your feedback helps us bring more impactful conversations to our community. Let's continue to grow this empowering community together. Until next time.